It began like any ordinary day at the military base, but not for Rex. The sun barely touched the horizon, casting a soft golden hue over Camp Pendleton as soldiers stirred awake, ready for another day of drills, duties, and decisions. But Rex, a seasoned K9 German Shepherd, wasn't just any military dog. He was a quiet guardian, a war hero in his own right, decorated for sniffing out IEDs and saving more lives than anyone could count. Though age had caught up with him, and he'd been semi-retired, the bond between him and his handler, Navy SEAL Marcus Hayes, remained unshakable. On this particular morning, Rex did something strange. Something that turned into a moment none of them would ever forget. Marcus had parked his truck outside his quarters as usual. It was an old, dented-up Ford F-150, layered in stories from the battlefield, bullet scars hidden beneath rust, and dust from 100 missions. And as Marcus went inside for his morning briefing, Rex didn't follow. He simply sat silently, beside the truck. Motionless. Focused. As if guarding something unseen. As if hearing a whisper no one else could. At first, no one thought much of it. "He's just tired," someone said. Another chuckled, "Maybe he misses the road." But as the minutes turned into an hour, and Rex hadn't moved, not for food, water, or even Marcus's command, people began to wonder. Marcus returned from the briefing, frowning at his partner's behavior. "Come on, boy," he called out, patting his thigh. Rex didn't budge. Instead, he let out a low growl, not aggressive, but alert. His ears twitched, nose pointing slightly under the truck, and his eyes, those deep, dark eyes, fixed on something Marcus couldn't yet see. Curious and a little unsettled, Marcus crouched next to the truck. "What is it, Rex?" And then, he smelled it too. Faint. Chemical. Not like oil or fuel, something off. Something he hadn't smelled since Afghanistan. Explosives. Immediately, instincts kicked in. Marcus backed away and called for the EOD team. The entire area was cordoned off in minutes. Soldiers rushed to evacuate the nearby barracks, while others searched the perimeter. The K9, who hadn't barked in days, let out a sharp bark, as if to say, "There's no time." The EOD robot crawled under the truck. The base fell silent. And then came the confirmation, a carefully concealed, professionally rigged explosive device. Wired to the ignition, its power doubled by hidden accelerants, it wasn't just meant to destroy a truck, it was meant to kill anyone within 50 meters. A bomb. Hidden under a SEAL's truck. Inside a secure US base. Someone had infiltrated them. As shock spread like wildfire through the base, Marcus looked down at Rex, his partner, his protector, and now, his savior. A silent nod passed between them. But Rex wasn't done. Because something didn't sit right with him. Even after the device was removed, even after the base was secured, Rex refused to rest. He began sniffing. Around the vehicle, the gravel lot, the tire tracks. That's when they realized, the truck hadn't been moved for over a day. Whoever planted the device had access to the inside. That night, Marcus sat in the dark corner of the barracks, reviewing hours of surveillance footage. Frame by frame. Night after night. And then, there it was, a flicker. A shadow moving near the truck at 3:42 a.m. Barely visible. Wearing a uniform. An insider. The base went into lockdown. Silent alarms triggered an internal investigation. Every soldier was accounted for, every visitor screened, every guard questioned. And then it unraveled. A civilian mechanic contracted to service military vehicles. Former Army. Dishonorably discharged. Bitter. Quiet. He had passed every security check, on paper. But Rex knew better. He had been living among them for weeks, waiting for the right moment. That moment, would have been the morning Marcus turned the key. 2 days later, Rex was awarded the K-9 Medal of Valor. It was his third, but this one felt different. He didn't save a platoon on foreign soil this time, he saved his home. His family. But the story didn't end there. Marcus had grown up in a broken home, a quiet boy from rural Montana who'd found his way through discipline, through the SEALs, and through Rex. In a world that demanded strength, he had buried his emotions deep. The war taught him to stay silent, to push forward, to survive. But after this event, something changed in him. He started speaking to younger recruits about trauma, about brotherhood, about vigilance, not just in the battlefield, but within. He used Rex's story to remind them that heroes aren't always loud, that sometimes silence can scream the loudest warning. Rex, too old for combat, was given full retirement honors. Marcus adopted him officially, though the bond was always there. They traveled to schools, veterans' hospitals, and K-9 therapy centers. Together, they inspired thousands with the simple truth. Listen to those who can't speak. They often see what others can't. Years later, a documentary team visited Marcus and Rex for an interview. The camera crew asked the final question of the day: what did Rex really discover under that truck? Marcus smiled, then looked at Rex, now resting his graying head on Marcus's foot. He didn't just find a bomb, Marcus said. He found betrayal, and stopped it. He found a ticking moment and turned it into a second chance for all of us. And with that, the screen faded to black, not with gunfire or explosions, but with the soft thump of a loyal K-9's tail, wagging gently, faithfully. And in that silence, the world remembered what true heroes look like.